Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Yashwendra Singh, Executive Editor of ETCIO and the moderator of this fireside chat on the topic Maximizing Analytics to Reimagine Marketing for Better Decisions. The proliferation of digital and its widespread use as a medium has meant that organizations have had to rapidly incorporate new technologies and tools to reach customers online. However, organizations are struggling to join channels, data, and marketing activities together in a meaningful way to understand customer journeys, build a single customer view, and work out where best to invest their marketing budgets. This also causes major frustration for today's customers when, for example, they find they cannot complete an interaction they began online when they walk into a brick and mortar facility, say a bank. To discuss how leveraging analytics the right way can help technology leaders to make better and informed decisions, we have with us today Mr. Deepak Sharma, President and CDO, Kotak Mahindra Bank, and Mr. Tim Charlesworth, Customer Intelligence Domain Lead, Asia Pacific SaaS. Welcome, gentlemen. Great to have both of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great having you, Yashwendra.
Thank you so much, sir. I'll begin the discussion with you, Deepak, sir. Can analytics actually help grow business? Because every initiative has to deliver innovative customer experience and increase value to the consumer, because these would then translate into business growth. So can analytics help in providing innovative experience and enhanced value to customers, eventually leading to growth? Your take on this?
Yeah, I think we all have come to realize today that the amount of data that we are all generating every second, including on this call, I'm sure, speech data, text, the way probably the question that you have asked or the way I respond, everything can be converted into insights. Right? And I think the question that you asked is, while there is data and we can derive a lot of insights, how do we convert it into a measurable outcome? And typically that's where the ROI and the question comes around what's the value it's adding to the business. I think we have all started to see a lot of value coming out of it, right from engaging customers through digital channels. And we see today digital is the first channel that a customer interacts with in financial service. And I think with COVID, that has just got even further accelerated. And as you come on a channel, right from click-through analytics to what is your browsing history, what kind of products did you search, what transactions did you do, it tells a lot about customers' behavior, preferences, and each of these insight then gets converted into what's the next best offer for customer. How do we understand customers' motivation around money or insecurity or preferences around investments? And today, as we speak, I think each of these, along with the set of tools, which helps us manage what we call as an automated life cycle management and customer interactions. So our ability to offer real-time offers, contextual offers, personalization of screens, all of these gives customer a more curated and meaningful experience, rather than cataloging everything that one used to do, say, a few years back, or where everybody used to see everything. And I think people don't expect that experience as they connect with any brand. And I think all of these is helping on a better cross-sell, higher engagement, more targeted offers. And I think we'll continue to see hyper-personalization as a way to build these kind of deeper engagement with customers, and which will result into obviously better product penetration, cross-sell, and other metrics that we all measure internally.
Sure. Great inputs there, sir. So hyper-personalization is the way forward. Great. I'll come to you, Tim. How do you look at analytics in the context of business growth? Tim, your thoughts here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I echo a lot of what Deepak said there. It comes down to how you can use the analytics to drive a better experience at the moment of truth, moment of engagement with a customer through whatever channel they're choosing to come and contact the brand in. That the ability to provide relevant content, relevant to that customer's or prospect's life stage or intent or whatever, really needs analytics to be able to scale to the scale of what we're talking about now with almost everybody engaging digitally. It's also important to be able to pass these messages, these next best recommendations that Deepak spoke about, consistently across all of the different touch points and channels. And I've seen Kotak Mahindra and Deepak sort of push into WhatsApp and Amazon and many channels over the last few years. And again, it's a challenge I expect to be able to keep a consistent message for the same person across all of those different channels, to keep it all in sync. So that's really the challenge we see around operationalizing the analytics. We can build the models, they can gather the data, but the challenge these days really is how do you turn that into a different customer experience at that moment of engagement, that moment of truth.
Sure, sure. Coming back to you, Deepak, how can analytics help to accelerate, automate, and streamline marketing planning activities for optimal accountability? Because analyzing data more effectively, automating processes, and accelerating productivity. Well, all these are strong as separate goals, but they unify into something greater for an enterprise. So what's the strategy to achieve all these goals?
So I think one of the things that we have moved beyond data lake was that to bring all the machine learning capabilities in terms of understanding, profiling customers, creating clusters of people like me, what are they doing? And a lot of those insights starts to profile customer segments into sharper personas now rather than the large segments that we used to look at earlier. And I think a lot of these comes at the back of what you're doing with money, right? So like Tim rightly said, on our mobile app now we have got about 15 categories beyond just the financial service, right from say a shopping on Amazon or a Flipkart or your travel on IRCTC or taking a flight with or a hotel. It tells us a lot about who you are, what you prefer, how do you want to spend your money. Do you like availing or doing transactions on credit or debit? What kind of spends and ticket size or what kind of frequency of certain attributes that you demonstrate? And there's no end to it. Okay, I mean, this is, I would just say these are the few starting blocks. And as we understand our customers and their preferences and build it, the strong machine learning models, which obviously keeps learning, keeps doing a lot of A/B testing on an ongoing basis to see what works in terms of creatives, in terms of communication, in terms of offer, in terms of even timing of that offer. Do you prefer to buy something on the weekdays or weekend? Are you an early morning person or you probably browse when you are in the traffic? So a lot of this starts to become relevant insights. And all of this is coming at the back of doing constant testing and using the test results back into our machine learning algos too. The other part which we are doing is we are building a lot of NLP for communication design of experiments. And I think that's something which is, again, an area that is still a little early on, but I think taking it to more interactive, more intent-based is where we are seeing a lot more journeys coming through. Now, as we speak, we have just released, for example, one of the very first of its kind in India, a recharge on WhatsApp. Here again, we just said, hey, this is a category where we know what people do on WhatsApp. We brought a lot of banking use cases. And I think in India, because today you still have 97, 98% prepaid customers, and they do recharge very often, and they're mostly on WhatsApp. We thought, can that give us a lot of insight and also keep it more interactive? So as you do a transaction, can I get into an interaction and understand what more can I do? And I think this is a constant dialogue now that we are bringing interaction through digital medium, that's sharpening our marketing communication offering, building on the data science capability to the next level.
Sure. No, that's an amazing level of granularity that you've brought about, Deepak. Great. So Tim, talking about, analyze, automate, accelerate framework of doing more with less is compelling precisely because it is responding to the customer whose tastes and habits are always changing. What's your take on this?
Yeah, you're right. And especially in these times, everything is changing as fast as ever, faster. I mean, one of the things that I think Deepak touched on there is talking about the pace of the data that we're dealing with now, the ability to evaluate the situation with a consumer, a customer almost in real time or immediately as somebody carries out some transaction or has a dropped phone call or has an ATM that has no cash in it. Those moments need to be responded to immediately in real time. You can't delay anymore in terms of thinking about what decision you're going to make. You have to do it immediately these days. The other aspect in this marketing planning sphere that I want to touch on, it is a real topic of a hot topic at the moment in the customers I deal with is the concept of attribution and understanding through analytics when you're spending a marketing budget, what is each dollar delivering to you? And for any success or failure in a KPI, was it the spend in offsite advertising? Was it the email campaign? Was it the app? Which of all the initiatives you're taking in marketing activities is actually relevant, driving the actual KPIs you're trying to run the business with? That's a big marketing analytics problem today that we see a lot of conversation around.
Sure. Deepak, you spoke about different channels being leveraged by customers a while back. So customers today use a variety of them to engage with brands and organizations on their own terms, whenever and wherever they choose. Customers can move from smartphone to desktop and to TV, and then to a brick and mortar store when they engage with a brand or organization. How can analytics help in taking into account data from across all these channels, digital, mobile, physical channels, to enable sound decision making and effective, efficient marketing execution? What role can analytics play here?
So I think the way we look at customer journeys with bank, it's largely around either customer needs an information, or customer has an inquiry, or customer has an issue. Largely, these are the three key trigger points for a customer to come and connect, right? So, and be it coming to a branch or an ATM or digital channels or contact center. Right now, I think the way we are seeing this all happen is through a single layer of engaging with customer at a multi-channel levels. That means that a channel of your choice, whether it's around an information or an issue or an inquiry, how best do we serve you through a channel that you prefer? Or is there a way that I can nudge you to another channel where it can be done in a more contextual, more richer manner than the one that you would have preferred? And that's where we have started to build a lot of interesting cross-channel journeys. For example, one of the journeys that we have built is connecting our interactive chatbot with the human agent, because we realized that we would, and connecting a chatbot to the mobile app. So what we are trying to say is there is a destination, that's your smartphone, where you come for your transactions. But so far you could not get your issues or information there because you saw always app as a place to transact. Now, how do we bring all the information seamlessly and also handle your issues and support you on an inquiry through the same channel? And that's how the chatbot integration happened within the app. Then we realized that despite whatever you do, and today we have 93% accuracy on our bot, but still there are a lot of customers we are unable to handle end-to-end because there are, say, complex queries. It can be around fee, charging, multiple questions, while NLP understands what exactly you want, but it probably does not have the right skill sets yet. We said, how do we take you from there onto a human agent or a call and use that insight back into training the bot and then making the entire experience richer next time when you come in? And that's how we scaled up our entire skill sets around our conversational bot. We were at about 80,000 odd skill sets in March of 2020, just around COVID. And in about 3 months' time, we took that skill set from 80,000 to 200,000. So we just rapidly scaled up because we just realized that there is so much you can do that a human intelligence has, and how do we bring it? So I think the question of a cross-channel is about how do we seamlessly integrate a multi-channel using data, using insights, understanding what's the preference of a channel, and then use each of the channel even for contextual marketing. So if you come today to a chatbot and say, hey, I need a debit card replacement, and then if I know that what kind of a customer you are, I will take your request and I'll say, hey, incidentally, we also have some great offers on credit card. Would you like to apply for one? Now, I mean, this is where the marketing and analytics is moving, that you serve customer and find every touch point as a way, not just to serve and engage, but also find what more you can do basis the profiling or an insight that we have about that customer. And that's how the marketing is getting integrated with the service channel, and cross service channels are getting integrated, be it in physical or in the digital world.
Great stuff there, sir. So Tim, what are your thoughts on Deepak's strategy there, and how do you think analytics can help in integrating this plethora of channels and gaining critical insights from them?
Yeah, it reminds me of an old banker I used to know, who told me that in their quest to turn their service channels into more of a service and sales channel, the attitude they took was in whatever engagement they were with a customer, they would always have to earn the right to introduce a proposal or some other sales conversation or whatever. It was always acknowledge the customer's need, make sure you had that covered, and you had agreed with the customer that yes, I've heard you and I'm willing to do what you're asking me to do. But then you earn the right to be able to say, have you thought about the gold card or the black card or the diamond card or whatever? So it's part of that. And we see the analytics being deployed through decisions in customer contact in two ways. I like to characterize it really as looking at automated decisions and augmented decisions. And the automated decision sitting behind the chatbot, a lot of the time is probably okay to just put some business rules in and implement those rules, and that takes care of a lot of conversation. But then when you flip to the human assisted channels, then you're into the world of augmenting the decisions that the human might make. So giving hints and suggestions to that human to help them guide the conversation, because they're probably thinking about a whole lot of stuff the machine isn't. But there's still a role to play for the analytics to help in that conversation.
Sure, great. So Deepak, there are lots of challenges that organizations face in consolidating data. I mean, it's easier said than done. So while many organizations already have some analytics tool in place, they're often designed to report only on a single channel or limited data point. Another problem that I feel that arises for organizations is that data captured by these tools is sometimes scattered across the organization or housed on legacy systems. As these tools are not integrated and work independently, it's difficult to obtain a consolidated end-to-end view of marketing activity across the enterprise. How can these issues with respect to data be mitigated by technology leaders?
So I would say, Yashwant, that there are two layers at which we are looking at it. One is obviously a data aggregation layer. How do we ensure that the data across multiple source system is available at a central repository? And I think that is the very basic start, and that's what I think we started many years ago. And I think today, as we speak, I think more data warehouse and data lake is given, because that's what is the starting point. But I think the real success comes not by just bringing in data at one point, but I think building various stacks and domain of data model as to what do you want to do with the data. So for example, the credit is one area. And as I start looking at credit decision making in my process or business rule engine, profiling multiple models, I just need to ensure that I'm not just getting data of customers that I have approved loans and seeing what they are doing on how that portfolio is behaving, but also look at all the declines. So, and I think then these kind of model does not come in a very normal course to say, just bring all data in. Then you have to start questioning, what do I want to do? And as I start building my different models, or similarly, if I have to start managing the risk and anti-money laundering or transaction monitoring, it will need a very different set of capability where I would need the data to come in less than fraction of a second for me to take a real-time call on a fraud risk management engine of whether to approve a transaction or decline a transaction, or do I need an additional step up before I approve that particular transaction. And that means for that, you may even require some data that is not flowing into your current data model. For example, an IP or a location specific. You're not, say, in India and you're initiating a transaction. Now, if I know that data that has to come through either an ATM switch or a POS or from your app as to where you are, So that means you have to start looking at certain capabilities that are not coming from our own source system, but look at data partnerships to bring in that external data as an overlay on top of the data that we have, and then decide. Similarly, around the campaign and marketing, that again, a lot of time are more location specific or moment specific data or a click specific data. So as we built the core model, on top of it, we looked at each of these different data models to ensure that on a centralized data repository, what are the additions or what are the overlays that we build, and integrate these data layers along with the core data strategy to optimize the value for the firm.
Great. That's a very comprehensive strategy there, sir. Great. Tim, gathering data for reporting and analysis is definitely not an easy task. There is duplication, inconsistency, missing information, and a number of other problems. What's the way out?
Yeah, there's as you say, as Deepak says, getting the data together, the raw data together is a foundation, but you're a long way from success if you stop there. One of the other dimensions to think about, particularly these days, is if you are dealing with multiple channels and data coming from channels and from outside the organization as well, that especially in the world I work in of marketing, privacy and compliance rears its ugly head, and we start to try and wrestle with the idea of identity and being able to join up a cookie with a customer, with a phone number, with an email address, and manage that identity. And I know it's certainly been something that folks are starting to look at with PDPA on its way, GDPR in EMEA. That's something we've actually had the demand locally in India to set up our marketing cloud infrastructure inside India, in Mumbai, so that even though there isn't at the moment, I don't think, strict legislation that says you can't move customers' data outside India, I think everybody is still much more comfortable if it doesn't go across that border. So that whole privacy dimension is becoming a huge driving factor in this.
Sure. Great, gentlemen. We've had a great discussion. So one final question before we wrap up the session. Deepak, how can technology leaders leverage technology to ensure personalized customer experiences that increase profitability and create lasting brand loyalty? Is there a single scalable solution capable of providing insights into activities across channels based on real-time data? Is there one pill for all ills, as they say?
Yashwendra, that's a tough one. I wish we all knew how to do that with one pill. I don't think there's one single or a silver bullet to it. We have to do series of things, if you ask me. And as data is talking more on the logical side of it, I think we are also trying to integrate the empathy maps and the emotion side of customer, because at the end of it, creating value is about what the data tells and what the customer reacts. And there's no data science yet that is perfected. How are you feeling now? And what is going on in your mind, and how you will react to the same information at different point in time. So in my mind, there are many things that we are testing, integrating some of those by stuff like, say, an instant gratification, preempting certain moments, but there's no one model that works. And I think we have to keep trying. And that's why we are integrating a lot of customer experience and moments along with the technology and the data science to integrate and see how these two can create the new value or probably find a smarter way. The other thing I think in my mind that is changing and that's moving very fast is a lot of solutions like what even Tim spoke about. I think we're seeing a lot of cloud-based solutions today, because even the data is scattered. Some data is on-prem. Some of our new applications, we are taking it completely on cloud. So even the data structure today is in a hybrid state. And how do we look at certain cloud-based solution with data lake capability, with integrated machine learning stack that can help us try things much faster rather than taking a much longer cycle with a more higher accuracy. I think so. Some of those models are that we are trying, which is all on cloud, deployed on cloud, and has inbuilt capability. And I think a lot of these now, since are getting more real time, built with machine learning and deep learning, algos. I think this continues to provide more extra edge because this is again a journey. I think we start today, we learn, we probably try, and then customer is also moving. I think the goalpost or engagement with customer is not constant. So how do we keep learning as where the customers are and keep trying it is I think in my mind, is the journey. And that means we have to do thousands of small steps and see what are the key insight those brings in. And then probably if we can find some good success matrix, again, for different customer cohorts, so as to say, because I don't think there is one single solution that's going to work. I think that's how, in my mind, this will continue to be evolving. And that's why it's such an exciting space to be in, if you ask me, because if there's a problem, you go one day and solve next day. I don't think there's an excitement for everyone, but every day you are learning and you are moving ahead.
Great thoughts there, sir. Tim, final comments from you?
Yeah,
what kind of a solution
I agree again with Deepak. The way we're moving slowly towards adoption of cloud, most people are in this hybrid structure now where they want to leverage the best of cloud technologies, but they also want to keep leveraging the heritage and the assets and everything they've built on premise at the same time. So a lot of people are kind of moving gently in that direction, dipping a toe in the water. Some are jumping into pure cloud, but most are sort of retaining this hybrid stance. I think one of the things that's key for this, and whilst I work for SaaS, and we'd love it if we were able to provide a solution that did everything for everybody. We kind of recognize we're never going to be able to do that. Nobody's ever going to be able to provide this one-stop solution. So again, the key for the fundamentals of what we're building these days is those three letters, API, to be able to have the concept of APIs everywhere and everything that we build, so that it can easily connect into other systems. I saw some research last year, which was the average marketing team uses 26, 27 different tools over the space of a couple of months. We're never going to be able to meet all those requirements from a single solution. So whatever we build has to be API'd everywhere so that we can integrate with the thing that's coming tomorrow that we haven't thought of yet. So that's my take on it.
Great. That's all we have time for, ladies and gentlemen. To sum up the discussion, for organizations to succeed in the digital landscape and actually connect with customers across channels, they must acquire or invest in marketing analytics tools and, more importantly, align with the right partner. We hope the insights shared by Deepak and Tim would help you in enhancing customer experience and subsequently business growth for your enterprise. I would once again like to thank both Deepak and Tim for their wonderful insights and our viewers for watching this session. Thank you all. Stay healthy, stay safe, and keep watching ETCIO BFSI Conclave. Thank you.